So over the long weekend, Donald Trump pulled a stunt where, I guess to prove how healthy he is and how wonderfully everything is going with his coronavirus case, in advance of restarting rallies and town halls and maybe debates, which he did already, he staged a so-called medical exam on Fox News. Now, it really was not actually an exam. It was a conversation with that same Fox News doctor, Marc Siegel, who a couple of months ago did an interview with Trump about his cognitive state and said Trump was amazing. His cognitive state is just stunning. This medical exam, which wasn't a medical exam, is hilarious because if you listen to Donald Trump, he doesn't answer a single question. We learn nothing during this entire interview other than by process of elimination that at the time of this interview, Donald Trump was still positive for coronavirus. That's all we learned during this fake medical exam. So let's get into it. Trump is asked about symptoms and basically says nothing other than he didn't feel strong and insists he had no breathing issues.
That you had last Friday, like when you went into Walter Reed, what were the two most prominent symptoms that you had?
I think didn't feel strong, didn't feel really strong. I didn't have a problem with breathing, which a lot of people seem to have. I had none of that, but I didn't feel very strong. I didn't feel very vital. I didn't feel like the president of the U.S. should feel. And I knew there was something a little bit off. And the doctors at Walter Reed were incredible.
We've known for a week, though, that Trump was given oxygen at least once and probably multiple times. And there were numerous reports about trouble breathing. But again, asked what were your symptoms, a seemingly straightforward question. Trump doesn't name any. But you'll see in the next question that all of a sudden symptoms start to crop up. Next question is, were you scared? And Trump lists medications he got.
Were you scared? Were you frightened?
Well, I took the Regeneron, and Eli Lilly makes a very similar medicine, but you have Regeneron, you have the Eli Lilly version of it. And it just, within a period of 24 hours, I felt very different. I think I could have left the hospital a lot earlier. But it made a tremendous difference, Mark, and, markedly so. And I just felt very good. You would have sort of a sore throat, just to add to what we were saying, but I felt really very, very good after taking this for a period of time. It's a transfusion, not a shot.
Reports actually are that Trump was panicking as his symptoms started and started asking people at the White House if he was going to die, like his friend who died of coronavirus. But notice that Trump then adds a symptom there. I guess he forgot before. He says, well, I did have a sore throat. When he was asked about symptoms, he said, I didn't really have anything other than I didn't feel super strong. So, okay, we've added a symptom. Trump is then asked about medications. And this is so funny. I think Trump just doesn't understand anything. I think he's just not a particularly bright guy. He says he's not taking any medications right now, but mentions that like 8 hours ago, he did take medications. Take a look at this.
And right now, I'm medication free. I'm not taking any medications as of, probably 8 hours ago or so. I'm medication free, which frankly makes me feel good. I don't like medication.
So Trump seems confused about his own medication regimen. He says, well, as of in the last 8 hours, I've taken nothing. Well, have you finished courses of those medications? Because if you take something daily, there's a point in the day where you could say, listen, it's been 23 hours since I took anything. Well, but are you off the medications or have you just not taken your next dose yet? Bizarre way of answering every single question. Trump later asked again about medications, and now he sounds completely different. He says, I think really I'm not taking anything and we are pretty much finished with medications, which is not the same as I am no longer on anything. Take a look at this.
What are you taking right now as of today?
I think really nothing. We pretty much finished, and now we'll see how things go, but pretty much nothing. We had our final doses of just about everything. Actually, the original transfusion, that's supposed to last for about 4 months.
So Trump is pretty much taking no medication and basically had his last doses just a few hours earlier. Like, does he even understand his own treatment? I had a conversation with some friends over the weekend where we were talking about we talked specifically about this interview, which we had all seen. And we were kind of arguing about, is Trump here being strategically vague on purpose when he answers these questions? Or does he not really understand what's going on and whether he's taking medications or like his own treatment? And the consensus was it could be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Then Donald Trump is asked about, well, what medical tests did you have? Did you have a CAT scan? Trump doesn't seem to know what he had. Take a look.
You would feel comfortable. Can you tell me a little bit about the tests you had in the hospital? Did you have a CAT scan? What did that show?
Yeah, they tested the lungs. They have incredible equipment at Walter Reed. In fact, they said, no, you could leave your jacket on. That's the first that's ever happened. Leave your shirt on, leave your jacket on. I said, I'll take it off anyway if you want. But literally, they tested the lungs. They checked for the lungs, and they tested it with different machinery. They have incredible stuff that I've never even seen before. And it tested good. Initially, I think they had some congestion in there. But it tested good. And with each day, it got better. And I think that's why they wanted me to stay, frankly. But the CAT scans were amazing. The equipment was incredible. I've never seen equipment like this before.
The CAT scans were amazing. Imagine that. And of course, tests like no one's ever seen before. I like that he says they checked for the lungs. They did find the lungs there, reportedly. According to the scans they did find Trump's lungs. And medical experts are unanimous. The lungs were there as far as Trump is concerned, but it all tested good. Congestion in the lungs, maybe, who knows? It's not clear whether Trump actually means what the medical term lung congestion means, or whether Trump means he was stuffed up in his nose, which of course would be another symptom he had not explained recently. It's all wacky. And then the big question, of course, that many of us were waiting for, have you been tested and are you negative? The answer is a pretzel. It's a verbal ink blot. Take a look at this.
Are you tested? I heard you said you were going to test again today. Have you been retested?
I have been retested, and I haven't even found out numbers or anything yet, but I've been retested, and I know I'm at either the bottom of the scale or free.
When is your next test going to be?
I don't know. Probably tomorrow, Mark. They test every couple of days, I guess, but it's really at a level now that's been great to see it disappear.
So I haven't gotten the numbers, but I'm at the bottom of the scale or free, and he's at a great level when it comes to the virus. Are you positive or negative for coronavirus? Obviously, if he was negative at the time, he would have said it. If you look at the letter put out by his doctor just a few hours later, you will noticeably see that Trump tested negative is missing from the letter. The letter says Trump meets criteria to stop isolation. He's no longer a transmission risk. He's been fever-free for more than 24 hours. There's no longer evidence of actively replicating virus. Trump has decreasing viral loads. No mention of Trump tested negative for COVID. And you can bet your ass that if he had tested negative, they would be saying it. Ultimately, we learned or were told that Trump tested negative literally en route on a plane to a mass rally in Florida last night, which we will talk about a little later. But as you can see, Trump cleared by his doctor to return to public events and campaigning. And indeed he did. And we will get to that later. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. I'm Pakman on Twitter. What do you make of this bizarre supposed medical exam, which was a doctor asking Trump questions that he didn't even answer? Let me know what you make of it on Twitter. We'll be back after this. If you are anything like me, you probably aren't thrilled with the idea of going into a doctor's office right now. And thankfully, there's a practical and affordable way to take control of your health and get personalized care from the comfort of your home. It's a service called SteadyMD. They're one of our sponsors. You take a quiz, you get matched with a licensed primary care physician who understands your health needs. You have a 1-hour video call with your new doctor. You establish a meaningful relationship with them. And after that, your doctor is available to you anytime by text, phone, or video chat. This is not a random doctor on call. Each doctor at SteadyMD has a limited number of patients, so they actually have time to listen to you. You get the personal attention that you deserve. They can do almost everything an in-person doctor can do: perform medical evaluations, talk to you about health concerns, send prescriptions to your home or local pharmacy, and anything they can't do online, they'll quickly set you up with an in-person provider to do, things like blood tests, as an example. You don't need insurance. It's only $99 a month with no other fees or copays. There are so many practical advantages to using SteadyMD for primary care, and it's also so much more affordable. Go to steadymd.com/Pakman to take the free quiz, see which doctor is right for you. I took their quiz. They matched me with a doctor who specializes in my particular health needs and situation. The doctor they gave me is a really perfect fit for me and my medical needs. There's no risk, no commitment to get started. Just click the link right underneath this video.